Hello and welcome to another episode of Gig Nightmares. This is the show where I'm going to tell my friend Kyle Walz about one of my most insanely horrible gig experiences. Welcome everyone, Kyle Walz. How you doing, bud?
Hey, oh, I love these stories, man. This is because we do the thing like you'll tell a story and then I'll start thinking of things myself. It's like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this one time.
Okay.
So yeah,
So, let's dial in the time here. This was 2007, I believe. Okay, so I was living in Kissimmee, Florida, a suburb of Orlando, basically the southern part of Orlando, and I was a member of AFM Local 389 Musicians Union, and at the time, the Musicians Union solo performance rate was $200. So, in order to use a union contract and be backed by their lawyers, I had to charge $200 a night or more. I couldn't charge less than that or they wouldn't back the contract, which was really a thorn in my side because a lot of places didn't want to pay that much. However,
yeah,
I went in and I did an audition at this place called Frankies Farrells Irish Pub. I actually remember the name of this place. Okay, so I went in there and I did an audition for free. I set it up and I knocked the manager's socks off, and he loved me. And he kept talking about how the owner was some musician from Ireland and he wanted to introduce me and he would help my career and this was great. Well, the guy signed my contract. He signed and he booked me for a month.
yeah,
It was so I got 4 Fridays in a row, $200 each. Boom, 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 boom.
nice.
Okay. So I go in and I do the first one. Everything's great. I get paid my $200. I leave. I come in to do the second one. Somebody else is setting up on the stage. So I'm like, go to the bartender. Hey, I can't remember the manager's name. I asked for the manager. Oh, he's not with us anymore.
Good
Okay.
times. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. All right. That's cool. They're just tearing down, right? Oh, actually, no, they're setting up. But I'm playing tonight. No, you're not. Actually, pull up my contract.
yeah,
Yes, I am. Well, but he's not with us anymore. I'm the manager now. Oh, really? Okay, that's fine. Let me go make a phone call. So I get the union guy on the phone. He's like, "Well, yeah, man. If he's violating contract, we can take him to court. No cost to you." And I was like, "Okay, do you want to take this to court, or do you want to have me do my show?" And the manager, didn't know what to do. He was new and he was kind of being a jerk, but at the same time, he was trying not to be too mean or anything. But
yeah,
he had a pickle because he booked this other guy for less. So he calls the owner, and then the owner's really mad because the owner didn't know nothing about the contract, wasn't run by him like the other guy said. He just did it. So that made him even more pissed. I don't know what all that other guy did that made him get fired or whatever, or be left, or I don't know what happened.
yeah,
Anyway, long story short, okay, I got to play that night. And while I was playing, the guy that was setting up was sitting there at the bar making mean faces at me. He was this big, huge, muscular, but overweight, just
yeah,
huge guy. Like a big, stereotypical biker with a huge fucking beard and just looked mean.
yeah,
Just like I will pummel you. Mean. And he was just giving me dirty looks the whole night. And he actually threatened me verbally when I was waiting at the bar. He said I better watch my back. So anyway, as unpleasant as all that was, then the manager at the end of the night, when he paid me, he said, "Okay, here's what's going to happen. The next 2 weeks, you're going to come in on Saturday. My gig was Friday, and I'm going to give you a check. I can't give you the check Friday. I need the money from Friday to pay you because I'm going to be double booked and I got to pay you both out." So he fired me, but then still paid me to cancel the contract.
yeah.
And then he said, "After that, I don't ever want to see you here again."
Like it was your fault.
And then
Yeah,
that guy when I came in to get paid, that same guy that wanted to beat me up was the guy setting up. And he was the one staring me down like he wanted to hurt me every time. So it was like my skin was crawling, and I
Yeah.
couldn't wait to get out of there with my check.
Ugh,
And my wife was just like, well, okay, but at least you had the balls to stand up for yourself,
yeah.
and so that was one time where being in the union really super came in handy for me.
Yeah.
And it really mattered and made a difference that one time. And yet it still left a horrible taste in the place's mouth. And they were
Man.
really, really mad at me about
Yeah.
that when all I was trying to do was entertain their people, and that was it.
Right.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
do you think? Reaction!
Oh my gosh. Well, I was thinking like talking about Florida and stuff. I think Florida is state number 3 in venue density. When I was working with the tour manager, he's saying, like New York, California, and Florida, have the most venues in the state for music. And I was thinking too, it's like, St. Louis has some really gnarly history when it comes to union kind of stuff, but it's more, industrial kind of related and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, because we don't have any of that, like musicians union or something like that here. And I guess that's because our venue density. But man, I think something that people don't understand, because when you're on your own doing what we're doing, we're essentially independent contractors. We're trying to get a job on a site, and sometimes stuff that is completely outside of our control, or things that are intended to protect us, cause problems that we're not trying to cause. Just
Mm-hmm.
like going somewhere and someone else is set up. It's like, well, it's like when I mean, this is so not your fault, but you're the one that gets the brunt of all the negativity for it. If we're just trying to say, hey, I have this contract to do business with you, we're trying to do this, man. Yeah. And in those situations, because I am not a very, big guy. I'm obviously like this huge, impressive, figure of masculinity right here, Kyle. And I've been in situations where I show up at a bar and, there's dudes there that are like 8 foot tall and like 900 pounds or something. And, they have to ride 6 Harleys because that's they need that much to carry them. They're just so physically massive. And going in, it's like, hey guys, I'm here to play music. What do you, but then once I get on the microphone, and usually rock guitar will win those guys over. But man, your situation, I could not imagine. Just and then they having the guy giving you the stare down. I mean, like what is that bullying nonsense all about too? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
ugh, man.
It wasn't anybody's fault. It was a lack of communication on the management's part. All
Right.
completely lack of communication. Like because if if that first manager guy had gotten approval from Frankie, like you said, then they wouldn't have double booked. But
Yeah.
he just didn't. I don't. He might not have even called the guy when he said he was going to call. He might have just made that stuff up. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. But it didn't help me that the other guy was charging 150 and I was charging 200. That did not help me. And
Right.
so at the time I went to the union when we had meetings, and I was trying to be vocal about, okay, um, you guys want to raise the orchestra's pay. I get that. But if you do that, then that means I have to charge double your raise more, and I can't do that because I'm a soloist,
Yeah.
right? So they were charging $100, and that meant I had to charge 200. Their proposal was they wanted to raise that to 125, which would mean, because of the way they factor it, that I would then have to charge 250 to then be on contract. And I said,
Right.
I can't get $50 more. These places won't. They're already telling me I would rather go with this other guy for $50 less, even though you're more talented. We like your music better. You entertain the crowd better. We don't
Yeah.
care. He's cheaper. And so we
Right.
want that. And
Man.
so I'm like,
So vicious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so then what happened? The orchestra won. and they raised the minimum. And so I had to eventually quit because I couldn't get union gigs anymore
Right.
and then they raised it again. They raised it to 150 a few years later. And
Wow.
so then I had to charge 300.
Yeah.
And it's like for a while I was trying to like think of ways to like, okay, if you sign this contract and tell the union that you're going to hire me for $1,200 worth of work, I'll give you a deal and only charge you 900 or something. Like I was trying to like, I'll
Right.
give you the last week. You don't have to pay me. I'll do 3 shows and then the last one's free
Yeah.
or something, like trying to, you know what? Yeah.
Oh,
But then
that's
I
a
just eventually had to quit. But so that
yeah,
was one of the times that it was really super helpful.
dude, that's a tough situation. Man.
Well, and I also suggested, why don't you decouple the solo performer from the orchestra
Yeah.
player? Why don't you just not have? And they're like, but that's the way we've always done it. That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way it's done.
It's
That's
like,
2 times. That's what it is. I'm like,
yeah. Oh
just
man.
get rid of the modifier. Just
Right. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Dude.
So I lost. I obviously lost that.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Oh man, that made me when you started this, I knew I would start having memories come back, and so I thought of a good one. Then
All right.
I have to
So
tell you,
we'll go ahead and do that one in an episode on Kyle's channel. So make sure you all go over to check out Kyle Walz, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Hit the like button here if you're not subscribed. Of course, subscribe, and we'll see you next time
see ya.
on Gig Nightmares.